Wendigo. In the mythology of the Native American people, there is a malevolent spirit that is known as the Wendigo. The story of the Wendigo is told by the Algonquian people, describing the Wendigo as a cannibalistic creature that has a desire to consume human flesh. It has been said that when people indulge in cannibalism, they transform into the Wendigo. However, there is the possibility that the Wendigo spirit can also possess a human being, causing them to engage in cannibalism. It is with this latter case that occurred to a group of friends that came up to Huntington Lake one summer. At least once a year, this group of friends makes it a point to come up to the lake and stay at the family cabin of one of these friends and stay for the weekend. But this year is slightly different because the situation just so happens to be that they are able to stay up for an entire week. Their activities that they engage in are almost always the same, engaging in mountain activities such as going on hikes and doing water sports, to making elaborate meals with plenty of leftovers and socialize. And if any of the neighbors just so happen to be up at the lake as well, this group of friends check in with them and give an open invitation for them to come over and visit. However, unlike previous years, the events that happen on this year's trip turn out to be more sinister in nature. This is due to the fact that a Wendigo spirit has managed to be traveling through the Huntington Lake area at exactly the same time as this group of friends is arriving at the cabin. The majority of the group lives in Los Angeles, so when they arrive at the cabin, it's long after the sun is set. One of the friends will be coming from Fresno, but that won't be until later in the week. When they have the cars unpacked, they close them up and everyone heads inside. As the last person is heading into the cabin, something in the trees grabs his attention. He stops to take a look at it and try to figure it out. As he is looking into the darkness, a breeze comes along and blows directly into this individual's face. Flinching at this, he decides to head inside, deciding that whatever grabbed his attention wasn't anything of importance, closing the door behind him as he does. Once inside, he helps to unpack the coolers and other groceries. Once this task is completed, everyone turns in for the night. But not everyone is sleeping easy. The guy who was distracted by something in the trees and had the breeze blow in his face is tossing and turning in bed as if he is overcome by a nightmare. And as it turns out, through some odd twist of fate, this will be the last time that he will receive any decent sleep. When morning comes, he is the first one to awake. Once up, he starts cooking some breakfast. He begins to cook some bacon and sausage, though he doesn't wait for the food to fully cook before he begins to eat it. Some of the items are still quite raw. He even cracks open some raw eggs and pours the contents directly down his throat. This behavior causes some tension between the guy and the others when they find out what he's been doing. As a result of this, he goes storming out of the cabin and into the woods in a fury. Eventually, one of the others goes out after him in an attempt to figure out where he went and to try and get the story straight about what he did. She also wants to try and iron things out. Eventually, she finds him along the horse trail, sitting upon a rock and staring out upon the lake. Once finding him, the two of them start talking. The guy says that he feels bad about what he did, stating that he didn't know what came over him except that he had an uncontrollable urge to do it. But what he doesn't tell her is that this compulsion hasn't left him, leaving him hungry for flesh. This time, however, this sense of hunger is directed toward his friend. And once this hunger is fed, it is satisfied, if only partially. Eventually, the guy starts heading back to the cabin by himself, though not in the truest sense of the word. His friend is with him, but only in small, bite-sized pieces. After a few days have passed, the friend from Fresno finally manages to get up to the lake and arrives at the cabin. The reason why she didn't arrive with the others was because there were some responsibilities in Fresno that she had to attend to before heading up to the lake. In addition to this, when the main group arrived at the cabin, it was late in the evening, making it impractical for the friend in Fresno to arrive with the main group. As she is making her way up to the cabin, she is looking forward to having a good time. But once she arrives at the cabin, she knows immediately that something is seriously wrong. The first indication of this presents itself when she is pulling up the driveway to the cabin. The vehicles that the main group used to get up here are in disarray. Things are strung out about everywhere, and at least one of the vehicles received some obvious damage. All the debris that she sees indicates that things have been ripped apart. The warning signs are immediate and apparent. Things can only get worse from here. After getting out of her car, she makes her way over to the stairs that lead down to the cabin. As she does this, she notices that the chairs, mission pot, and hammock located in the area known as the dingle are all in shambles. She also sees what appears to be dried blood splattered everywhere. When she looks down at the deck of the cabin, she sees a body laying face down upon the planks of the deck in a pool of blood. Concerned that the person might need her help, she rushes down the stairs to check on the downed person. One thing that she missed while looking around from the driveway, and will miss in her mad dash to get away from the cabin, is a face, a human face, staring out upon the world from the downstairs bathroom. The only difference between this face and any other face is the fact that it has been divorced from the rest of its body. The face itself, along with the ears and a good part of the scalp, but with the eyes removed, has been strategically placed in the window so that it could be seen when people look down at that particular part of the cabin. Once she makes it down to the deck and the person laying there, the Fresno friend manages to get a good glimpse at the greater carnage that exists on the deck. Blood, body parts, clothing, and other items are scattered about everywhere, with some of the body parts still attached to articles of clothing. She is just struck by the horror of all of this. As she looks around, she just so happens to peer into the cabin itself, which is due to the fact that the south-facing wall of the cabin consists primarily of windows. Looking in, she sees someone who appears to be sitting at the dining room table with a horribly disfigured face staring out upon the lake. This person has a slack look on their face, and the person's head is resting precariously on one hand. As she stares at this person, the person's head slips off their hand and strikes the table. From there, she is able to stare deeper into the cabin and is able to glimpse the horror that exists within that building and what occurred at the cabin before she arrived. And as she stares in, she sees movement. She sees someone moving about inside the cabin, and it appears that the person is eating something, as if the person is eating meat and is pulling it directly off of the bone. Having seen enough, this friend from Fresno decides that now is the perfect time to leave. Taking one last look at the body on the deck, she sees that the face has been smashed in and the person had died long before she got there. Coming down this far was a mistake. After reaching this conclusion, she runs off and rushes back to her car in full fright. Once in her car, she drives off until she reaches the hamlet that represents the lake's commercial center. Once there, she tells her story, resulting in the local sheriff and the forest rangers to become involved. When they head down to the cabin and investigate, they find only a single survivor. And this survivor is feasting upon the flesh of one of the dead people found within the cabin. And this sole survivor is the man who was infected by the Wendigo.